Imposter syndrome. Have you heard of it? If you haven't heard of it, we can also refer to it as self-doubt on steroids. It is an intense form of self-doubt that oftentimes people who are in positions of power or people who are successful or people who are in positions or doing things that they don't feel like they are good enough or qualified enough to do. So we're going to talk about what this is, why this happens, and how to start moving through it and dealing with it and getting past it. If you're new to me and this is the first time we're connecting, my name is Kristina, and I'm a registered clinical therapist, researcher, and online course creator. I have a master's degree in counseling psychology, and I work to help men and women get through the crap that is holding them back so they can like themselves and their lives more every day. So have you ever been in a job or in a position somewhere where you felt like it's only a matter of time before people figure out that I have no idea what I'm doing, or that I'm just a big fraud, or that I'm just a big phony? It's only a matter of time. Or if they only knew, or I have really no idea what I'm doing, and I feel completely unqualified. I can feel completely unworthy of this position that I'm in. And if you have ever felt any of those things, then you are likely experiencing imposter syndrome. Now, it's also referred to as imposter phenomenon, and so I will use those two interchangeably, and I personally like calling it imposter phenomenon because every time I say it, it kind of makes me think of that 80s song that goes something like phenomenon. And who doesn't need an excuse to bring out an 80s tune every once in a while? But imposter phenomenon, imposter syndrome, why does this happen? And the interesting thing is that it's usually more prevalent. So contrary to popular belief, contrary to what you might think, it's usually more prevalent and more present with people who are more experienced, knowledgeable, and successful. And you might think, like, if someone's really knowledgeable, or if someone's really experienced, or if someone has a lot of education, why would they have all this self-doubt? Why would they feel unqualified? But the reason is because usually the more you know, the more you learn, the more experience you have, the more you realize how much you don't know. The more you realize how much information and expertise and experience there is out there that you don't yet have. And so the more you're exposed to knowledge and information and experience, the more you kind of see that, like, wow, I'm just like this tiny little part in it all. And then that can really turn into a lot of self-doubt. You can feel like I'm not qualified because I don't know everything, because I'm not the very best at this, because there's so much more to learn and there's so much more to know. But the thing is also is that oftentimes we don't give ourselves enough credit. We don't actually realize how much we do know. Just because we don't know everything about everything, or everything about something within a certain area, it doesn't mean that we don't still have valuable knowledge and experience. And the other thing that can happen is that sometimes when something feels easy, when we're just like, anyone could do this, or this isn't a big deal, or, you know, I'm not special, like, this is not hard, and this is not challenging. And we think, well, you know, then I'm not qualified to do it. But the other part of it is sometimes we don't realize how much our own experience, knowledge, and training that we've acquired, that we've gotten, is so ingrained in who we are that we don't realize. It's become so ingrained in who we are and how we do things that we don't realize that other people don't have that training, other people don't have that experience, that sometimes we don't realize how far we've come because it just feels normal, because it just feels easy, because it just feels natural. But we forget that we went through a lot of training, of experience, of just like getting in there and doing it. We probably went through a lot of struggle to get to a point that this thing became easy. And so now it's kind of ingrained into who we are, and we just think, we forget that it wasn't always that easy, that not everybody can do it, that not everybody has these skills. Not everybody has learned these skills. Not everybody has had this experience. And so when we forget that stuff, then we feel like imposters. So what do we do about this? How do we deal with this? And another thing that's kind of interesting about it is I've done mentoring with new therapists, so new clinical therapists who are just getting into the field, just starting off as therapists, just starting their private practice. I've actually done a lot of mentoring with a lot of them, and I've sat down with them as they're getting ready to start their private practice, and they have all of this self-doubt. They have all of this imposter phenomenon. They think, who am I? Who am I to be able to help people? What do I know? How am I ever going to be effective at being able to help people heal and deal and move through their stuff? And I sit there almost dumbfounded and look at them and say, you have a minimum of 6 years of higher education and experience and training. Most of them, maybe even more, 7 or 8 years when all is said and done. And then look at them and say, you've been training in this field, in the field of psychology, in the field of therapy, in the field of mental health for 6+ years. And if you don't have any ability to help someone, if you don't have any knowledge or training to help someone, then who does? Then who is qualified? And so sometimes we have to remind ourselves of this stuff. We need to look back and we need to be able to say, oh my gosh, like I have actually done a lot. And just because I can't think of everything that I know in this moment, it doesn't mean that I don't know something. And that goes for all of us. A lot of times we don't realize how much we know. We don't realize how much knowledge we have, how much experience we have, how much we have kind of in our brains that can be used to help other people, that can be used for something productive, that other people actually want us for. And so letting ourselves kind of sit in that a little bit. And the other part, then this is something new that's come up with this whole imposter phenomenon thing lately in our culture, is a lot of times people working in the tech industry really struggle with it. A lot of young people coming in and working in the tech industry, because tech is changing so much and it's always moving so quickly and stuff is so new all the time, that oftentimes people feel like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I can't do this. But the truth is, because things are so new, nobody really knows what they're doing. And so it's being able to just really trust on that foundational knowledge that they already have in order to be able to figure out this new stuff, to be able to take the next step, in order to be able to move forward in something that's kind of unknown. So trusting that foundational knowledge, trusting that you actually do know what you're doing and can figure it out because you have that in you already. You have that knowledge, you have that experience, you have that training, maybe not specifically for this problem, but you have enough to give you the ability to figure it out and problem solve, which is kind of fascinating, but it makes sense with technology moving so quickly. And nobody really, you can't have 4 years of university or like 2 years of technical college in order to be able to be an expert in this thing, because technology is sometimes changing by the day. And so you can't have all this experience in this new technology. It's just not possible. So what do we do about this imposter phenomenon or imposter syndrome? How do we start moving through it and start feeling more comfortable and confident in the roles that we have, in the places that we've gotten to, or even the positions that we've been appointed to? And the first one is, as silly as it sounds, is learning how to say thank you. When someone says, you did a great job, or I really appreciate you, or you've put in a lot of work to this, or this, I'm really proud of how this is going really well, instead of saying, no, anyone could have done it, or, I really just don't have any idea, or I just got lucky, being able to say, take a deep breath first and say, thank you. So being able to own what we're doing and being able to accept recognition and appreciation. It doesn't necessarily mean that, we're the best at everything all the time and know everything and are perfect, but that's not a prerequisite for being successful, is being perfect and knowing everything. So being able to just say thank you and stand in that, as uncomfortable as it is, it gets easier, I promise. The next one is again being able to stand in that success and being able to own our success. So it's not about overinflating ourselves and saying, I'm the best thing ever. I'm the most, valuable person who ever was in this position or in this role or doing this thing. But just being able to say, I do deserve where I'm at, because if not me, then who? If I don't deserve to be here, if I haven't worked hard, if I hadn't spent the time learning and acquiring and developing myself and my knowledge, if I don't deserve it, then who? Who does deserve to be here? And sometimes you might think, well, it was just luck. I just had this position handed to me, or they were in a bind, or, things just sort of worked out and it just kind of happened. And then we think like, oh, it was just luck, or they didn't have anybody else. But the truth is, even about luck, even people who have handed things to them on a silver platter, anyone can screw it up. So even if something has fallen into your lap that you maybe didn't work for, anyone can screw that up. So if you've been doing it for a little while and you haven't, been pushed out of the position or fired or removed from the situation, trust that it's not just luck that's keeping you going. Luck may have gotten you there, but it's not the thing that is keeping you there. And the third one is that you don't have to know everything in order to bring value or be good at something. Because the truth is, no one knows everything, that nobody is perfect, that we all have room to grow, we all have things to learn, but it doesn't mean that you don't deserve to be in the position that you're in or to be where you are right now. That you do deserve it, that you are worthy of it because you are there. And if imposter phenomenon, imposter syndrome, self-doubt on steroids is something that you struggle with, share with us in the comments section below where you notice it coming up. And also, if it is something that you struggle with, a great way to get a handle on this one is learning how to become more mindful. And if you're new to the whole mindfulness thing, then I have a video about it. And I also have a 10-minute free guided mindfulness exercise that will really help you feel more kind of calm and grounded when these types of situations come up. So I'll put the link to that free guided mindfulness exercise in the description below. And then when you get the free audio, then you'll also get a link to a short video explaining exactly what mindfulness is in really simple, plain language. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing way out there. And I'll put a link to that as well if you're new to it and if you just kind of want to understand it a bit more. Also, come and join our Facebook group, goodformegroup.com. Tons of supportive and encouraging and insightful and deep and really fun men and women in the group. And like the video, subscribe to my channel so we can stay connected, and do leave your comments in the comment section below. I love hearing from you guys. I love having more of a conversation afterwards. Until next time, take good care.